Well, it's that season again, my friends, and if you're anything like me, the one thing that you absolutely despise, or your one big pet peeve, is having to go out into the garden, especially if it's a hot, steamy day like it is here in the Sonoran Desert. We're reaching temps today of about 100 degrees, and the one thing that I absolutely despise is pulling weeds. It is one of the main factors on why I decided to become a natural farmer, to allow all the native species to take hold within my garden and to work with all the other plants and trees that I have growing here. But with that, there are still times that I need to pull weeds, especially in walkways, on the concrete slabs, on the brick pavers. And that is just one thing that has to be done from time to time, especially if your wife says we're having a get together in a week and the walkway leading out to our swimming pool is covered in weeds. And if you know anything about pulling weeds in concrete slabs, in pavers, in patios, coming through the cracks, you know those are some of the most pesky and persistent and most difficult weeds to pull out. And so that is where a lot of people will usually resort to chemicals, resort to herbicides like Roundup, things that will absolutely devastate the soil, the food web, all of the microbial life within the soil, and it is just a terrible thing to use. I just want to show you, my friends, that you can take care of all those pesky weeds with no herbicides, with no chemicals, with no toxins, something that will be eco-friendly and organic, and you can actually have a really good time doing it. And here's my walkway. As you can see, it is just completely loaded with the Bermuda grass, with the silverleaf nightshade, with the China berries that are just littering the walkway between the paver stones and the side walls, even on the bricks themselves. It is just an utter mess. And this is just something that will continue to happen season after season. Doesn't matter if you've put weed fabric below, which I did here. Over the course of many years, that fabric will break down, the weeds will persist, and you will need to take care of those. And so rather than coming out here and killing the soil, killing any feeder roots coming off any of my trees that may go underneath this walkway, you have to take all of that into consideration, not to mention the dangers working with herbicides. If you've seen any of the commercials concerning Roundup and the issues that that can cause, it should give us all concern for our well-being and health. And so there is a secret that the manufacturers, that the big ag do not want you to know of. There's an alternative to using those chemicals, those herbicides. And it is so easy to do, it is so quick, it's instantaneous, and it is a lot of fun. So let me show you how I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this walkway. And this, my friends, is my flamethrower. So it's a propane torch that is a game changer here in the landscape. So I'm gonna go ahead and get her fired up for us. And anytime that you deal with fire, you always have to be cautious you don't get burned. So always make sure to have a hose on standby. I'm gonna go over some of the techniques that I use to prevent fires from spreading or taking hold. Here in the desert, we have a lot of yellow grass, a lot of flammable things. So this is not something that you can do haphazardly. It is something that you will have to exercise some control and safety with, but it is a very effective means and very fun. So let's go ahead and get started. So before I start flame throwing, one thing that I like to do is I just like to break up the patio in sections. I'll usually break it up into about 10-foot sections. And then what I do is I just take my hose up front and I'll just spray the outside of everywhere that I plan to flame down. That way the flame doesn't allow overshot and to allow some of this to burn out here and make burn piles or burn scored areas. So if you just take your water hose and you spray the exterior of the whole area that you plan to flame, it'll prevent any of the burn from getting outside of your area of control. Now you can see I have a lot of wood chips out here, and so these wood chips will take the flame and burn. Now you could burn these with the flamethrower to kill the Bermuda grass, but like I said, they will want to burn and cause fire. So you'll just want to make sure that you have your garden hose on standby. So unless you're planning to make biochar with your wood mulch, just spray it down first, and then you can come back and you can flame over it, and that will kill any of the grass and not allow the wood chips to burn. But in my case, I've just got rock and gravel here, so I'm not concerned about that here, but I am concerned about the flame leaving the area that I'm doing. So I just want to spray all this down so that I can control the burn within this walkway. Okay, now for the fun part. What I do is I just turn it up. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that you don't have to fry the weeds. You could just simply go over them quickly. And what that will do is it'll prevent the weed from performing photosynthesis. So it will no longer be able to make sugars. And also the heat of the flame will devastate the root system. It will dry up any moisture within the root zone. And so the weeds will die. On top of that, it will also kill any of the seed heads. So if any of the weeds were in seed, it would also kill all the seeds as well. And so you can do this quickly, but for me, I just like to take my time with it. I like to absolutely fry them until I can no longer see them and just have a good time. As you can see, the area that I sprayed got 0 flame damage. There was 0 fire spread anywhere. And that just goes to show you that spraying it down first makes a big difference. One thing I also want to mention, especially with this gravel, is the area that you've just sprayed, you don't want to walk on with your shoes because of the heat that is still radiating upon the rock. It will actually melt the rubber soles on your shoes. I've had it happen, and the rocks will stick to the bottom of your shoes. So just always work backwards or work in one direction. I always work backwards, and then I just try not to walk on what I've just sprayed down. As you can see, within just less than a minute, I was able to do about a 6-foot section. So this will really go by pretty quickly, and it won't take long at all. So I'll go ahead and move back. I'm going to water down my next little spot, and I'm going to start moving back. And as you can see, I still have quite a ways to go, probably another 50 feet or so. And so I'm going to go ahead and take care of all of it all the way to my patio area. And I'll bring you back at that point, and then I'll just show you how I go about cleaning it up afterwards. There is a final step so that you don't have all these black char marks all over the place. So stick with me, and I'll show you how I go about making it look nice and pretty when it's all said and done. And I got everything taken care of, all the pesky weeds in my front pavers all taken care of. And I gave my walkway plenty of time to cool off here. So let me just show you how I go about cleaning this up. It is really basic, very simple. Just takes a little bit of effort, and you can get it all cleaned up to make it look really nice and pretty to please your loved one. So the most simplest form is what I do is I just take my foot and I just kind of rub it in. and you could actually use a broom. I've used a broom in the past as well. You can just kind of broom over the char, and you just kind of work it into the rock itself, and you just take your time with it. You may come across some weeds that you didn't fry in the process, but just remember that even though some of the weeds that you uncover here don't appear to be fried, they're still going to die off maybe a little bit slowly. If you wanted to, when you uncover some of those weeds that appear to still be green at the base, you could always bring the flamethrower back out and just give them another burning. But I'm just going to go back through and work these in with my feet, and I'll show you the end product. And here's the finished product. So as you can see, it just night and day difference from what it was. You can see the outside borders, there are no char marks anywhere. So spraying first with the water makes a huge difference. And this just makes life easier. I remember the very first year that weeds started growing up through the walkway, and this was before I had my flamethrower. And it took me 2 days to go through this walkway and to get all the weeds out by hand. And I had just vowed at that point in time I would never do that again. And that brought me down the road to the flamethrower. And I am just so thankful that I came across that. As my dad always used to tell me, work smarter, not harder, son. And so I just wanted to share this with you, this pro tip. If you got anything of value from this video today, I would certainly appreciate you smashing the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could also subscribe. And if by chance you're in the market for a flamethrower for the weeds, I've also offered an affiliate link below for Amazon, one of the best-selling flamethrowers on Amazon. It won't cost you anything more purchasing the flamethrower through Amazon, but a proceed of the sale will go to help this channel and will help the channel to continue to make good quality content for you. So if that's something that you're in the market for, I would certainly appreciate you using the link below, as well as smashing the like button, subscribing, and putting a comment down below. And let me know if you've used the flamethrower, how you use the flamethrower, and what you do to take care of those pesky weeds that seem to come up through the cracks and through all the various means that are very difficult to get rid of. So once again, thank you all so much for taking the time today, and I hope everybody has a great and an amazing day. Many green thumbs, and God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.